Welcome to Columbia Access Television show, What's Going On. I'm your host, I love you the most, Bishop Lorenzo Lawson, and I got a distinguished guest with me today that we're going to be talking about some of the things of what's going on in your city and surrounding area. You can always participate in this show by different means, and those means is up on your television screen, and you can always chime in because what's going on is designed is specifically for you. Now, we want to get into the show. We want to have enough time for my guest. My guest is Brother Chris Haynes. Brother Haynes is really, we could call him a native of Columbia because he grew up in Columbia. He was a part of the drill team at one time here in Columbia. Did some things, had some issues that he had to stumble a little bit, but then he got himself together. And now he's a counselor at the Phoenix program. And Chris, you can always correct me. I think you are the housing manager?
Housing coordinator.
Coordinator at the Phoenix program. And the Phoenix program is Columbia premier substance abuse program. And they do a wonderful work with the people here in the area that have issues with substance abuse. So Chris, another thing that Chris is, he's one of my fellow members of the mayor's task force against community violence. And we've been working together for the last, have it been about 8 months now?
8 months.
We just got through coming out of a retreat in which we are shaping up our suggestions to the mayor and the city council of what we suggest should be implemented here in Columbia to help curtail the violence here in Columbia. Welcome, Chris.
Glad to be here.
Chris, is there anything else that I missed out for as your bio that you want the audience to know about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty. I've been here for a long time, so I'm basically home. I'm basically home here. I was with drill team, as you said, break dance. I did a lot of community talent shows with Johnny Cooper Clark, and always in the community doing things. And I think that's what really needs to be brought back to the community is having something that
positive.
These young people can do, and actually look forward to something greater. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's my part of this whole situation, I think.
Okay. Well, Chris, you are a father, right?
Yes, I am.
And do you mind telling me the age of your children?
Oh, my children is 25, 22, 21, and little 7.
Okay. So you got children and young that age that what you're speaking on, it especially the ones that's right around that 20 area would affect, and even the older ones, they got to have positive things to do also.
Yeah.
How did you become a part of the task force?
Well, actually, Mike Trapp, which is, he told me about it, and I told him I wanted something to do with that because I wanted to be able to give back to the community. Basically, I believed in it. I believed that we could get together and actually come up with a solution, and so that's why I really wanted to be a part of it.
Okay, and what do you think? What perspective do you bring that is unique in that whole task force?
I believe what I bring mostly is the fact that I'm from the streets and I live that life, and I've had my flaws, and I've done some things that wasn't what I really wanted to do. It was just part of the environment in which I came from. I think that what I bring now is if a young kid look at where I came from and look where I'm going, they could probably see the changes that I made. And I believe that anybody, all these kids out here need somebody to step up their game, to do something totally different from what they used to be done. You know, I have a 22-year-old son with the last name, he's my junior. So him looking at what I've done when I was younger, I'm sure that sticks with him. But the changes that I have to make is because I don't want to live my life like that.
Sure.
And I'm sure that our kids really don't want to either.
So that's the perspective that you bring. You bring more of a realistic perspective that you've been there. So I can kind of guide and lead some of this conversation. If it gets off the wall, so to speak, you can bring it back by saying, no, that's not reality. This is the reality because I've been there. And that's an excellent point of view. And I think personally, I really appreciate your perspective that you have brought to the task force, because it is definitely needed, because sometimes we get in our offices, we're, like businessmen, and each and every one of us are pretty much some type of career professional person. And we got a tendency, some of us never had lived in that life, so we don't have a clue. Some of us may have forgotten where we came from, so we need reminder. And some of us that's on that task force, again, is coming from their point of view, which is, in their minds, is correct, but is not effective.
Well, I believe that, if you put your heart in it, we're definitely going to bring what our heart says. We're definitely going to bring what our culture brings. We're going to bring incidents that happen with us. We're going to bring the racism and the things that everybody talks about. I believe that this town is so versatile that we need to integrate it more than try to pick out the problems within it. I believe on the other side, I bring the substance abuse, because if you notice, I'm always talking about the use of mood-altering substances in our youngsters, because the more they use, the less reality that they believe in,
Exactly.
And we got to get them back to understanding that, the drugs is not good. Drugs, if we teach them that they are not good, this younger generation will understand that there's a better way of living life. Like now, I might go play pool on the weekend, and I'm always Friday night playing pool. However, I don't have to have a drink just to play pool and enjoy myself. We have to learn how to live life without that substance that covers up the mood. Of course, we have things in our past that may not have been great, not having everything that we needed based on my parents being alone. My mother took care of us alone, and she worked all the time. So we basically had to raise ourselves, and I think that is a lot of things that's going on in our community now. Is the kids are raising kids, and they don't know how to be parents. Exactly. And we have to get to that part where the tribe really raises a child. If I see a kid that's doing something wrong, I'm not scared to say, hey, come here. Let me have a little conversation with you, because that ain't right. When I was younger, the drill team was a way of me to express myself in my marching and the discipline that goes along with that. People have to realize when they took the drill team out of the neighborhood, you took the limelight of the children because they need to be grounded. The older people used to come out and watch us walk up and down the street and march and beat those drums, and they were so proud of us. And then when you took that away, it was no longer. Yes, and it gave me a sense of direction. And even though I went off the path, because I basically that's what we do when we're in that environment.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that peer pressure had a lot to do with you going off the path?
I believe peer pressure. Sometimes I was the peer who was pressuring
others.
Sometimes I was the guy who came up with the brightest idea to do something that was negative. It wasn't right. And so I don't always put it on peer. I put it on where I came from.
Yes.
We always get bored sometime, and we come up with bright ideas, and then somebody in that group will say, man, we can't do this because we doing greater things. Rolando Berry gonna get us if we don't act right. So I mean, just having that role model in our life really
helped.
helped. It really helped. The community was full of that. You had Kenneth Bradley always in Douglas Park. You had park rangers in clothes that look like us, who act like us, and so they would know how to deal with us. And I think it has to do with putting us in position to help our own.
Okay.
And yeah, that's number one.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned you bring that substance abuse perspective to the task force. Do you think that there's substance that actually swing the mood towards violence?
I believe that alcohol being the biggest, because if you take a shy guy and give him alcohol, he basically will ask that girl to dance. You take a guy who is timid, give him alcohol, and he probably will stand up to that guy he think he's scared of. So, I mean, it brings a lot of altering substances. It alters the mood, and it may put the S on the person's chest and make them act out. I believe that when you get into the even harder drugs, the anxiety that goes along with not having anymore brings out the rage in the person too. Okay. You know, because basically, if you get a guy who uses cocaine, if he ain't got none, he goes into a rage. He's angry. He's raging. He's anxiety. He's moving around. He's racing. His mind is racing. He cannot perform like he would do under calm circumstances.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we had the retreat, and there's 4 different, I guess, discipline that we are looking at shaping up some answers. Which one were you in?
I was in the reentry.
Reentry. Okay. And then reentry is going to be discussed next retreat, right?
Next retreat, yes.
Okay. But would you mind sharing with the audience some of the things? You don't have to coach. You're not speaking for the whole group, and it haven't been a consensus. But just some of the things in which, for instance, at the town hall meetings that we had, some of the main things that kind of popped out from the community.
Basically, at the reentry, I wasn't really there. However, I had a conversation with Dan Hannigan, and me and him we're kind of on the same page. We work really well together. Some of the things I believe, and I'll just say my personal. I won't say what everybody else may think. Basically, I believe that guys coming out of prison need to be held accountable for how they move, their actions, and what needs to go on with them. There's a lot of disbelief when a person walks out of prison, and we need to actually give them a hand up to help them to understand that you can make it, to give them a push towards success rather than those things that hold them back, like the Band-A-Box. Give them an opportunity to show you how good they really are.
Okay, when you speak on the Band-A-Box, some of my audience, they don't know what you're talking about.
Band-A-Box is getting that check mark thing. Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
On the application.
On the application. To get that removed is to say that, hey, let's just look at him as a man.
Yeah.
Let's just look at him as a man and let him do what he does, or let her do what she needs to do. And this ain't just about black men. This is about a society of people who have come out of prison, done wrong, did their wrong. I've done wrong.
And paid their price.
And I paid my debt to society. And what Obama says is, once a person has paid his debt to society, he deserves another chance. And I believe that too. So basically that, and I believe that the probation and parole should have a better relationship with these clients coming out of prison. And I think it has to do with if a person has been in a lot of trouble as far as violence, they should not get out of prison without some type of way of monitoring their movement, because what they bring to the street, and I've saw it happen many times, is chaos. They bring chaos because they have not started to adjust themselves inside. And I think it takes more work inside that we put those programs in place to where this person will get the education that he needs in order to transition from prison to these streets.
To the community.
Back to the community. And then when you think about the community, everybody has a loved one who doesn't act the way that they're supposed to do. What are you saying to them? What are you doing? What are you saying to your person who's getting out of prison? You know, he's wanting to do good. I haven't seen people not want to do good. He wants to do good. However, if we got to teach him how to do good.
And also make it more conducive for them to do good.
That's right. That means that we wrap the services around them. And what I mean by wrap the services around them is reentry programs are far and wide, but there need to be more communication between the big people to have a better understanding of what these person really needs. You know, because if probation and parole doesn't say, hey, this is mandatory, then they don't feel like they have to do it.
Okay, to just kind of throw a wrench in there and being from an advocate from the opposite point of view.
Right.
Somebody might say, well, why should we, you know, help some folks that did wrong when, you know, I've been out here all this time and I haven't got no help. You know, there's people that's on the out at the unemployment office right now that have never did anything wrong and they can't find a job.
Right, right.
So what do you say to these people when they seeing that? And here's the thought: what do I got to go to prison before I can get some help?
Well, I believe that everybody has a right to have their discrepancy with that situation, and I think that we should help everybody. I don't just say people that's coming out of prison. I don't just believe that the person that comes out of prison is the one that needs the help the most. But if you think about it, would you rather for them to be breaking in your house? Would you rather for them to be shooting at each other? Would you rather for them to have a better job or to create some ways to make it better for their kids? I believe that the way to the violence is to reach out to the fathers.
Okay.
We got to get to the fathers. We got to get to the fathers because fathers make sons who act like them. I believe that. My son acts just like me in certain ways, you know, from my past. And, you know, he's getting better because now he has children. I think it really stems from us learning how to be parents. And I'm learning still today myself. So I would rather help them to transition than to create more violence, to create more chaos, to create, you know, or not even, or turn my head, say, well, I think I'll go help what's his name, who has never been in trouble. You know, well, I would help anybody.
Sure.
I believe that it's around the board. And I don't want to put a special condition on a guy who comes out of prison because he has to do his part too. And I think that that's the key is, are you willing to go to any lengths to do better for yourself?
Okay.
You know.
So they got to bring something to the table. Now, you mentioned the fact that you are thinking that maybe the parole office and the parole officers should have a larger part in this whole ideal. Again, coming from their point of view, here I am, a parole officer. I got 35 guys on my caseload. How can I possibly form a relationship with all 35 of them and get to know them when, you know, some of them I might have for 90 days, some I might have, you know, for 9 years. It depends. But, you know, and I got 35 on my caseload. What's the solution to that?
Hard situation. However, being a person that works in housing, I see numerous clients every day. I get to know these clients based on sometimes things that they do that isn't conducive to what we're trying to do. However, you just don't give up on them. you continue to meet, you continue to greet, and you continue to attack some of the things that may help them to transition from being unable to provide for themselves to being able to make better choices. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe like this, the more I show my face, the more better results I get. Sometimes I even
From
go
your
on my day
clients.
out. My day off, sometimes I'm riding by the housings and I'm coming in just to see what they're doing, just to make sure that they have some type of reason to believe that somebody cares about them. I think this is a lot about caring, the compassion that we show, and I think it has to do with how we talk to them. And I have nothing against probation and parole. I love the fact that they are doing the job that they're doing, because without them, there's a lot of things that wouldn't happen.
Sure.
I think that it's just sometimes we have to dig a little deeper to see the ways that we can combine all these services together to make this thing about a community. If the treatment centers is only getting a certain disclosed amount of money to help your people, and we don't have the capacity to continue to help your people all the time, then we need you sometime to step up your game to help us help you. And it's really a collaboration.
Sure.
When you got collaboration, everybody's on the same page.
Exactly.
That's why we sign consent forms, so that we can communicate with the treatment professionals and the DOC, and that's important. And if they don't, and if they clash, then now we're all out of compliance to help this person.
We got about 5 minutes, Chris. One of the things that I do want to try to get out into our listening audience is, how do you feel about the task force? Do you think that this was a good thing that the mayor put together, or how do you feel about it?
I think with the diverse, different type of people, I think it's a great thing, because really, even though you may not believe that it could actually do anything, I believe that you put all these powering minds together, they're going to come up with something. And from these last 8 months, I have started to see, actually, it kind of opens my mind up to thinking a different way myself. Because I was always thinking about poor, pitiful me sometimes.
Right.
And now I think about what I really can accomplish. Because, you know, like if your way is a little bit different from my way, what if we take those two different ways and we kind of mash them together? You'll probably get something totally different out of it. So it's about having an open mind.
Yes. Well, with that said, I just want to thank you again, Chris, for being my guest. And I want to thank our listening audience and our viewing audience. And again, our information is up on your screen. This particular show is going to be re-aired throughout the month. And you can go to the website, Cat TV, Google it, you can find it, and you'll see the schedule of this particular show being reran throughout the month. One of the things that I have really appreciated about the task force, besides what you just said, is the fact that I believe that everyone that's on that task force do sincerely care about this city.
Absolutely.
And making it a safe place for everyone and a better place for everyone. These men and women, they sacrifice their time. And I know, because this is really a sacrifice for me. And I'm quite sure you can say the same. But it's so endearing to us that we come up with some solutions that we feel that will help curtail some of this violence. That's right. We just had a gentleman that just got stabbed to death over on Pecan Street. Yeah. You know, there was a shooting that same day. You know, so we're gonna have to do something, and I believe that this is a great start. Chris, I want to thank you for being a part of this show, And I look forward to continue working with you,
Always.
doing the things that we do. And anytime you need me for anything outside of that, give me a call.
I
Because
shall.
we be there. And I'll do the same.
Of course.
I'll do the same. Thank you for tuning in to what's going on. We are getting ready to close out this show, but tune in again throughout the week to see this particular show re-aired. And again, next month, the first Tuesday, we will have another guest here, just to let you know with what is going on. I'm your host, I love you the most, Bishop Lorenzo Lawson. Be sure to tune in. Same time, same place. I want to see your face. God bless you, and you have a wonderful evening.